I wanted to review this, and I wanted to review this for a while because it was sort of this was a big music video of the 90s of me being a teenager, and had 3 directors that I really liked at the time. And, they're all fine now, I guess. Korn's Freak on a Leash is what I'm talking about. This was directed by, the animated segments were directed by Todd McFarlane. He had done Do the Evolution the year before. This came out in February 1999, which that date is actually important. I was thinking about while watching, I was like, it's kind of crazy it came out then, but we'll get into that. But the live action segments, which also have heavy use of animation, are directed by Jonathan Dayton and Valerie Ferris, who, when they were music video directors, were some of my favorite music video directors. They did 2 Smashing Pumpkins videos, which I think are great, Tonight and 1979. They did like a whole bunch of, I love 1970. That's a great music video. They did a bunch of really cool music videos, and they were like expressive and weird, and they'd work with all these different kind of cool people. And then they ended up directing Little Miss Sunshine and becoming sort of a different thing when they went to features. However, what I've always liked about this is the whole idea of this bullet that basically goes in the plot of this video from the cartoon segment, one poster, to where Korn is playing in another segment. And you see basically there's an animated segment where these kids jump over to a ledge, which is basically the album cover from Follow the Leader, the Korn album, which is weird because, I don't know, the thing is I will say, Korn, I was not into before this album. I sort of got into for a little bit, and now I'm not a teenager. This song is fine, actually. I think watching people react to this song and this video on React channels was interesting because people were like, this is a good beat. Like, I think Korn had a very good rhythm section. Most of nu metal had very talented like bass players and drummers, and but especially Korn was very well seasoned. But having that album cover, I loved Todd McFarlane as a kid. Spawn was a huge thing growing up because I went to a lot of comic book stores. So this Korn album very much was selling to me, and them getting Todd McFarlane and 2 music video directors I really liked made this video like a very big deal for me at the time when it came out. But they're recreating the album cover. What it was they go, they're doing hopscotch on a ledge, and there's a security guard guarding this ledge, and they have like gates and like barbed wire and stuff. Why, I don't know. But all these kids come over, and then there's like little kid versions of Korn for some reason. That never comes back. It's really not important whatsoever, but it's just there, and you go, oh look, they're babies. And they never did anything with little Korn or Korn babies, or I don't know what you do with that, but they never a spin-off. A pup named Fieldy or something. But Yo Corny. Oh, I like Yo Corny. Anyway, the little girl who's on the album cover does hopscotch, and then the security guard tries to stop him, and he falls, and his gun falls, and it shoots, and it misses the girl, but it goes outside of the poster that is a Korn poster, which is a different angle of the album cover for some reason, and then like goes and like just shoots all this stuff, and like shoots like a whipped cream can, goes by a fat dude coming in jumping in a pool, pops 3 balloons, and goes with the rhythm of the song pretty excellently. Destroys a TV. I forget all of them. Blows up a can of glass of milk at a cafeteria for some reason. None of it makes sense, and it's very expressive and weird, but it like keeps going through everywhere, and it's just like kind of this cool idea of like, where is this bullet gonna go, and goes through these things, and then it comes into a different Korn poster because there are so many. I mean, it was 99, so I guess it's not like completely ridiculous, but then goes into this Korn poster where Korn is performing. You actually do not see them till a minute in, which is pretty wild actually at the time. I have to say, I know people go, that's like the movie equivalent of, they didn't do the title card until like halfway through the movie, but it pretty insane actually, because most times with music videos, if you've ever had to make one with a band, they just want to do a performance. They don't want to do anything. And I will give Korn credit for getting a weirder video, and a video like this made. But they come in through where they're performing, and there's like kind of all these like sort of bullet hole like things, like where the light's seeping in. It's all black background. They come in, and then Jonathan Davis does this weird, like, what I thought at the time sounded like he was playing with action figures. It was like boom bop ba doom bop bo stuff, and it goes around the whole band, and like they each like play with the bullet, and then Jonathan Davis goes go, and then the bullet goes back and goes back to the cartoon and stuff. It really showcased the band. It broke them out from this thing. I watched a lot of Total Request live at the time. It was the only video to beat because usually 1 and 2 would be NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys, and Korn would be 3. And number 3 was called the Korn spot. Korn actually got to number 1. It was like a big thing at the time. And then got retired because they would retire videos on Total Request Live because otherwise NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys would just never leave. And then it would win Best Rock Video at the Video Music Awards and even won Best Video overall at the Grammys. What I like about this is how like expressive and weird it is, and how like kind of the idea of this bullet going through. But I think the thing about it is this came out in February of 99. It came out before 2 kind of pretty crazy things. One was The Matrix. And not to get too crazy with this, but I did, when I was thinking about the date, because the whole like run of this video sort of was towards the end when The Matrix hit. And it's basically like literally what Jonathan Davis and the members of Korn do with it is bullet time from The Matrix a couple months before The Matrix came out. Now, I'm not saying they thought they like saw The Matrix early. This video obviously took a long time to make. It's a lot of special effects and animation and stuff. But it's really interesting that this is like a month or 2, but literally before The Matrix hits and does the bullet time thing, and it's like done before. Not that I think they both were just on similar wavelengths, but it's just kind of interesting this happened right before everyone would sort of rip that off. And this has never, I don't think, ever been called to mind, the similarities. The other thing is like how we view a bullet in early 99 versus the aftermath of like Columbine, and how we view guns now, and the prevalence of school shootings, and seeing a bullet like go through a kid's birthday party is, I would say, really different from right before the first major school shooting that like kind of influenced all of this bullshit that happened afterwards. So it sort of reminds me of a simpler time, because at the time I thought, oh cool, bullet goes through things, and the context of which just meant it's a silly music video. You know, obviously a bullet going from a cartoon poster to a Korn poster of the band going back to a cartoon poster seemed like a silly funny thing. And it still is a silly funny thing, but the context of which I think changed after that. So I don't think when people say, you know, cancel culture, you couldn't make Blazing Saddles today, I'm not necessarily saying that. I'm just saying this is, or like that aged like milk. That's not really what I'm entirely saying. Is what I'm saying is like this is a time capsule of its time, and the idea of doing it now, I think, would not be met with the same acclaim. Also, MTV and how music videos are distributed is different, but I do think it's probably the best video of the nu metal era and that era of rock, and it's a great video. It really works. It's like a quick little short film. It showcases the band really well. You get a little thing of each of their personalities really quick. You get to show animation. You get to show all of this stuff. So I actually think it's like probably one of the smartest ones, and shows that they were actually a little more down for like doing something a little weirder and artistic, even though it does feel like a big dumb video. It's, if you've watched, I watched all of those at the time, and they're all kind of forgettable and stupid, but like this is the one that always stayed with me. So I think it's, you know, probably is a little more up there than any of the rest of them, but I think it just shows like a cool little concept that can get you through a short film or a music video that can like ride you through, and it gets you all the cool things music video could do, and it all sort of works, even though it's like completely ridiculous, even though now it would probably be sort of a little more offensive and more meaningful and a lot more scary than it was then. But it's kind of nice to look back on, I guess, that time when a bullet felt a little less scary to me, but you know, I think it just reminded me of that kind of era, and going like, oh, this is actually a good band, this is sort of interesting, and this is different, and I don't really like them now, and I feel different about it. I still look back on this fondly in the song a little bit, even though I've maybe grown out of it or whatever, but I still think this is a good concept and a good video, and it's sort of a kind of reminder of a time that went, and kind of like the good part of it that I sort of like take with me from this.